Conservative backbencher and member of the pro-Brexit European Research Group, Owen Paterson, joins me now. Thank you so much for being with us. So the Prime Minister's been talking to lots and lots of MPs from across Parliament, and you're one of them, and your fellow ERG members. Just tell us, if you can, what were the atmospherics around those meetings? How useful were they? Is this a way forward?
Well, I think it's very good the Prime Minister is seeing so many points of view right across Parliament, and it was good of her to give us the time and to listen to what we had to say. But obviously you won't expect me on live telly to give you the details of what happened. But you asked about the atmosphere. It was very constructive. We had a good exchange. She won't have been surprised to hear what we had to say, but I think it was a thoroughly worthwhile meeting.
If she's going to build some sort of consensus to get a deal through Parliament, she has to pivot, doesn't she, one way or another, either to a softer Brexit, to encourage Labour MPs to vote with her, maybe a customs union, or towards a harder Brexit. What do you think is in her mind?
Well, I just don't buy this soft and hard Brexit. 17.4 million people voted to leave. And at the general election, we interpreted leave to mean leave the single market, leave the customs union, and leave the remit of the ECJ. And it's because the withdrawal agreement doesn't deliver on those 3 points, those main points, that many of us did not vote for.
All right, then what do you want her to give you that she hasn't given you that could encourage you to vote for her?
Well, obviously, the biggest block is the backstop. And I've been involved in Northern Ireland. I've been to see Monsieur Barnier, I took David Trimble and various other customs experts. And we believe we have a solution allowing trade to continue across the Irish border using current existing techniques and processes under existing European law. So you don't need this huge blockage of the backstop.
Well, the EU won't buy that. You know the EU will not buy that.
Yes, but the point I made today is that, controversially, perhaps, this week helped her, because it's a very, very clear message to the European Union that this agreement won't go through, and they will have to listen to us.
Well, they're going to change their mind on the backstop just because the deal got rejected in Parliament.
Well, I think they have to recognise that it was the most enormous majority against it. And we know that Herr Selmayr has been boasting in provincial German newspapers about how the EU had triumphed in the negotiation, got everything it wanted, and the UK had lost. Well, that was all very unhelpful. I think they have to recognise the extraordinary strength of opinion expressed this week, and see that they have to look at other solutions.
But what if they don't? What if they don't?
What they did offer, what's been forgotten is, way back in March, they offered a wide-ranging free trade agreement, which would be ideal. That would have very widespread agreement across the House, and it founded on the issue of the Irish border. Well, we think we have now got a solution to the Irish border. We've worked closely with customs experts. We've talked to senior members of the administration here and to their customs officials. And that is the way to go ahead. But to get there, you've got to make it absolutely clear that we are moving to world trade terms. You have this current hysteria about no deal, which has become a surrogate for the whole campaign to remain. So that is that leave has now become no deal.
Well, you say hysteria, but a lot of people think no deal would be a disaster for this country.
Okay, well, I talked to a very senior businessman in the north of England this morning who's built up a tremendously successful business, employing thousands of people, creating hundreds of million pounds worth of wealth, and he's just furious that this is being caricatured. He is ready. He's talked to many of his friends in business. They are ready. And they want to leave on the 29th. They want the freedoms that we will gain by leaving on the 29th, not just the 39 billion, of course, we would take. But that you do in parallel. You do that at the same time to show we are deadly serious to the European Union. In parallel, you hopefully get them to wake up to the fact that the backstop is the huge block to negotiating a proper free trade agreement. And you do the two together. And then you can trigger Article 24 of GATT, which means if two entities are really making serious progress towards a free trade agreement, you can have an exchange of protocols and schedules, and you can then freeze tariffs and quotas, which is the big worry for many businesses.
But the Prime Minister could go in the other direction if she wanted to and offer a customs union and get lots of MPs, Labour MPs, to vote for her plan and basically sideline you on the Brexiteer wing of the party and the DUP.
Well, it wouldn't just sideline people like me. I mean, I represent the bulk of the voters who voted Conservative, and leaving the customs union was a key plank of our manifesto.
But do you think she might do that?
Well, she has said 23 times on the floor of the House of Commons, we will leave the customs union. And she's been absolutely clear And she fully understands that you cannot do trade deals around the world if you're in a customs union. And I saw that when I was in Washington before Christmas. They are quite clear at USTR, United States Trade Representative, that you cannot do trade deals if you're the United States with a country that does not control its tariffs and its regulation. In the customs union, we are trapped. And I don't see any prospect of that. I really don't see any support from that from Conservative MPs or from the DUP.
You may have been hearing that Nick Bowles, one of your Conservative colleagues, is trying to push through something that would effectively take no deal off the table, extend Article 50. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, well, I hadn't heard that. I know there are these views knocking around Parliament. I think that would be a great mistake. I think we've got to stop this caricaturing of no deal. It is quite obvious the world trade terms are not as good as a free trade agreement. But if we don't make it clear we are moving to world trade terms, the clock is ticking and the 29th of March is approaching. And we take away all pressure from the European Union if we don't make it clear we are moving to world trade terms and we don't make it clear that that deadline sticks. And the Prime Minister has been absolutely clear about that. She's been completely clear several times this week, repeating that we are leaving on the 29th. Now, it is optimal, it is much, much the best that we move to negotiating a free trade agreement. And you will lose all the pressure on the European Union if we give up, quote, no deal, quote, world trade terms, and you give up the date. And we just drift on month after month, and this whole saga continues.